Hello and welcome to How Not to Play, the channel where I play video games badly. Today we are going to be continuing our Platinum playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. A quick note as we're going through this video, if you catch anything that I have done incorrectly or could have done better or just completely missed, please feel free to put it in the description below. I do want these to be as close to a 100% walkthrough as possible. While you're down there, go ahead and put a like on this video. It really helps to push these out into the algorithm and grow the channel. Also, please hit that subscribe button if you want to get notifications of any future videos in this series. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some gameplay. So as you're running around the open world, you will encounter, indigenous wildlife like the deer running around and these rabbits up here by this windmill in the grasslands. Whenever you see these rabbits, that's an indication that something might be nearby, because we all know rabbits are dirty little thieves. So we'll go ahead and call up our Chocobo. Should be Pico in this one. Hello there. And we see that he's got that little blue exclamation mark over his head that he can send something out. So we'll hit our up to see where that might be. And Pico will guide us to the rabbit burrow. We can use our down arrow to scour the area and find these play arts. So here in the grasslands, we got the Play Arts rest spot. There is one of these in each area. So here in the grasslands, it is just here off of Chocobo's ranch, just on that little windmill. In Junon, it is going to be here, just right along the road, just off of the Mithril mine. So as you come down to that Choco stop, you just kind of backtrack on your way down to do the intels. In Corel, it's going to be up here by excavation intel in the factory ruins. You can take this Chocobo stop, but yeah, it's just going to be right up in there. Here in Gungaga, it's going to be right about here off the main road, just north of your Moogle, to the west of your Chocobo stop. Oops, too far out. But yeah, you do have to complete a little bit of the story to get your green Chocobo or your forest Chocobo in order to get it to show up. But that's where it's going to be. If you're at this point in the story doing post-game content, it's going to be right there. For Cosmo, your location is going to be right about here. It's kind of on the ground floor here. You've got that little ramp up here going up into your other intels. But it's just kind of down here at the bottom in kind of Nowheresville. But yeah, once you grab that one, you've got your Cosmo play arts. And I believe we've only got one left. And that would be up here in Nebel. Oops, too far out. Just kind of to the east of this Chocobo stop. Up off the beach a little bit. And then that is where all of your play arts are. But while we're on Chocobos, there's one more technically mini game we can do, and that is going to be here in the Cosmo Canyon region. So we'll just go ahead and go really anywhere, but specifically we're going to be looking at these training courses. Alright, so this is Glide de Chocobo, the training courses for Johnny's Treasure Trove. We are going to have to do each of the 3 Glide de Chocobo training courses at rank 3, which means collecting all the rings. Yeah. I have noticed, first and foremost, that the controls on Glide the Chocobo, like the up, down, left, right, does follow your camera options. So normally I run double inverted. It might make more sense to you in this case to go at least normal horizontal. The inverted vertical still kind of makes sense to me in a flying perspective, but doing normal horizontal will move your Chocobo left when you go left and right when you go right, instead of, you know, the inverse, like your camera. And so this is what I mean. So when you're doing Glide to Chocobo, this is the first training course, which we actually did get rank 3 during the main storyline when we were doing our quests here. But basically, you hold R2 to start. You can either use the motion sense functions, where you tilt your controller left, right, up, down, and your Chocobo follows it. Or you can push your L3 button, and now your joysticks will control. So you can tilt your controller however much you want, she ain't gonna do nothing. So it does so you can use either L or R. So you do, even though they're like right next to each other, you don't use both of them in conjunction. You just use either your left joystick or your right joystick, whichever one is more comfortable to you. And then you can use your up-down to go into a dive. So since I'm still inverted, if I go up, my Chocobo will dive. If I go down, my Chocobo will ascend. And once again, you don't have to hit them both, just one of them. So we can just do a little bit of a dive to get these. If you go into a full dive to where you get the like little white air marks on you, then you can pull back to ascend. But that's your first course. We'll get into the dive and ascend in the later courses. You don't necessarily need to do that very much on this first course to get your max score. So training course 2 is going to be up here, just to the east of, where is Kamaria's ranch. So from there, just kind of head east. Well, you have to head up around here if you haven't done it already. But just east of Kamara's ranch is training course number 2. And this one is where you really have to start doing your dive and ascend to catch all of your rings. As we can tell, going through the main storyline, I did not know how to do that properly, and so I only got a rank 1 passing on this, which you can see during the main playthrough. But we're going to go ahead and try to learn how to dive and ascend. Alright, I think I got this figured out. So yeah, this one does incorporate moving targets now, but really once you figure out where they're at, just kind of weave in between them and you're fine. But the moving targets aren't the big problem on this one, it's the dives. So going into your dives, I found that it worked best for me to use my right joystick for my left-right movement, and my left joystick for my up and down movement. And so as you see, you just kind of go into your dive there, and then at the bottom of it, you pull back on the control or forward, depending on your camera settings. And then you can gain some of that altitude back. It's important that you gain all of your altitude back, otherwise you're not going to make this one. And it'll kind of level out there. You really want to do as few movements as possible, or you're going to miss the top ring here. But that is how you do it. Yeah, anytime you move left-right, that actually loses you altitude, so you want to make those shots as close as possible so that you can maintain enough altitude to make it all the way through the course. And when you're diving there on that last big dive, to try and clip that as close to the top of that ring as you can, just so that you can pull back and maintain as much altitude as possible for that final leg. But yep, that's number 2. And now for the hard one. So our training course number 3 is going to be right here behind the Chocobo Ranch. So that, I mean, you're going to have on your map because it's part of the quest to even get the Chocobo. And so this is going to be the one that puts all of your skills to the test. And I am considerably lacking in that department, so this might take a while. So first things first, right out the bat, those two 500s, when they start to move apart, is when you're going to want to start your countdown to launch. That way, as you're going through them, they cross right back in front of you. You don't have to dodge into them or anything. And like we said, this one is all your skills. So here we've got your banking to hit all of your rings, and then we're going to go in and test out your dives. One of the biggest things to remember when you're diving is the farther you dive, the farther you can climb afterwards. And that's going to come in very important later on. So you dive all the way down, you just kind of hold back on that controller to get as much air as you can, and your Chocobo will just kind of level out once it gets to the top of this arc there. So you don't really have to do anything more than that. With these little moving ones here, you're going to want to hit the top one, dive through the next 2, and then pull up to hit the last one. And that's just kind of how it works. I actually pulled up too soon and missed it, which is where something interesting comes into play on this one. There is no time limit, so if you screw up, the run's not over. You can hit the updrafts to gain more altitude, circle back around, try again. And that is actually something that we're going to do to help us complete this challenge. Some might call it a cheese, but honestly it's just part of how it works. So here I'm trying to just kind of circle around to hit that last little target here, because you do have to hit all the targets. But like I said, there's no time limit. So take your time. Hit all the targets. So this one right here, we're going to bank in through these, and the way you're supposed to do it is drop down a little bit to get this 500. I dropped down too much, and then you hit that 500 as well to go into the final dive. As you see, I missed it. I dropped down too much, but the run's not over, so we can circle back around. We can hit these updrafts. We can try it again. You're supposed to go through all of this in one go, but I mean, I haven't hit the ground yet, so let's give it another go. And so as you can see here, I purposefully missed that 300 to go back and get another air boost. This is part of the cheese strategy, if you want to call it, because as we said earlier, the farther you dive, the higher you can bank out of it. And so normally with this dive, you have barely just enough altitude to clear it, but if you go back and hit that air, you can do a much deeper dive. And so then that lets you pull even higher out of it. As you can see, I actually pulled too high out of that and had to dive a little bit to hit that last 300. But that gives you plenty of air to hit these last 2 500 rings and finish with all of your points. Alright, so we have mastered Glide to Chocobo. Kind of. So what is next? I believe... Alright, so all of the Proto-Relic missions have a hard mode attached to them. But Johnny doesn't care about all of them. All he cares about is Fort Condor, Cactuar Crush, and Gears and Gambits. So let's go ahead and check out Cosmo, Corel, and Junon to see if we can't do some hard modes. So I will say that thankfully, if you go to your map, all of your phenomenon intel are going to be fast travel points. So you don't have to worry about walking around, you can just go straight there. So let's go ahead and give one of these hard mode battles a shot. In hard mode, you take control of the reconstructed Condor cavalry to defeat the advancing Shinra forces. While the enemy units are just as powerful, the cavalry's spirit is now broken and your allies are fatigued, making your job that much more difficult. Ooh. So instead of making the enemy stronger, they made the allies weaker. An interesting method of doing hard mode. Offense and defense focus, which I'm probably going to want to do because he's got a pretty balanced force, so I'm probably going to want to be pretty balanced as well. So yeah, we'll keep it defense focused. But yeah, kind of last time how we put down the ballista, we waited for the opponent to kind of walk into it. We protected it with an enforcer and a cleric, and then kind of threw some rangers in as backup. I think that's kind of the way to go. So we'll start with our ballista. We'll put in our enforcer, back it up with a cleric. Let's see, over here. Oh, that's not good. Oh wow, that one seemed to go by a lot easier. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alright, so looks like he's starting with a heavy push on the right. We'll start with our ballista there. Put our ballista here. They're moving forward, so we'll go ahead and add a little bit to them. Alright, so looks like we have a heavy push here on the right that's made it to Gilgamesh. So we're going to go ahead and try to reinforce that. And now I've got enough that I can bring in a cloud. Which will pretty much decimate all of his units, give me that good push. And then we can just kind of load him up here. There we go! Alright, that almost made it look easy. So yeah, definitely use your defensive mode. Start with your ballistas in the back to guard your lanes, and then whichever one starts pushing forward, just add the rest of your troops to it until you eventually just break your opponent. Yeah. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, you might as well go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps push the channel out into the algorithm and helps it grow. Also, please hit that subscribe button to be notified of any future installments in this series and any future series that I do. Once again, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.